On today's Rockman X DiVE News Roundup, as the crimson glow of the latest Monster Hunter Rise event fades out, in its place, love emerges in the air. Because hey, it's almost Valentine's Day, and so we have a Valentine's Day event to cover. Stick around afterwards for some Rockman manga updates as well. Let's rock! Hello everybody, we're finally back with your Mega News Roundup for February 8th, 2022. Coming to you from the ShadowRockZX YouTube channel and the MegaManNetwork.com. There wasn't a ton going on with DiVE and everything last week, so we did take a break, but at last we do have something worth talking about. So we're back, baby. Especially in the deep log. Before we talk about what's new this week in the deep log, let's recap some Rockman X DiVE things that have been happening leading up to today. Obviously, last Mega News we covered the Monster Hunter Rise second event for the game. We had Xenogear Iris and Crimson Valstrax Zero, who is super awesome. All the Asian server DiVE players have also been enjoying the Spring Capsule, which essentially has been giving us 2 free 10 pulls every single day. And you even get elemental medals and patches on top of whatever you pull. So yeah, it's pretty dang good. Now I have a ton of character patches that I don't know what to do with. We'll figure that out next stream. As for what happened in the deep log last week, well, not that much to be honest. To be fair, we were on the second week of the event, so usual stuff applies, like doing all the difficulties for elemental medals and other rewards. In terms of new things, the highlight, if you can even call it that, was an event for race mode, which allows you to obtain some assault rifle memories, depending on how you place. So now you can upgrade your gun! Last week's update also saw the return of the Hunter tokens, which is always a welcome sight. This time the roulette featured e-crackers as well. And no, I'm not talking about drugs or anything. I'm talking about the drop events which gave you e-crackers, the firecrackers. And that currency is the reason why we could do a second 10 pull on the Spring Capsule. Not only that, but thanks to the Hunter token roulette, if you're lucky enough, you can outright just buy Rathalos Armor X from the store for free. No gotcha pulls or anything like that. Gotta say, that's pretty dang generous. Not to mention, we have continued to get a single free pull on the original Monster Hunter banner with Rathalos Armor X and the 2 Hunters. Though personally, I never got anything out of that besides B's and A's. A couple more capsules that showed up that are worth mentioning is the Dark Code capsule, which for anyone who doesn't remember, Dark Code coins is another currency that can be exchanged for pretty much every character and weapon and the permanent pool. And so the capsule did come back where you get some Dark Code coins if you participate in it, or you can just outright whale for the coins if you want to. And there is one more capsule for all the whales out there, because this is a paid only capsule, but it's the guaranteed Festival Special Character Capsule. The first 10 pull is 500 paid medals, but every other time is 1000 medals. Paid, mind you. However, the interesting thing is, if you are going to shell out the cash for it, you can get some seasonal characters, and it's a pretty big selection too. I believe all that's really missing from the list is Christmas RiCO, in fact. So, with every pull that you try to do, you get a guaranteed S-rank character or weapon, which kind of makes it questionable because the whole draw of this capsule is obviously the seasonal characters, so really you don't want to see a weapon drop. However, if you whale enough, on the 5th and 10th 10 pulls, you'll get a guaranteed seasonal character. Mind you, we're talking hundreds of dollars here, because paid elemental medals don't come cheap in this game. And that's why this is mainly only for whales. But if you are a whale, well hey, there's a way to build up your seasonal character collection a little bit. Unless of course you get really bad luck and keep drawing S-rank weapons. That really sucks. and for that reason it makes this capsule kinda not worth it anyway. Now, moving outside of the D-Blog itself for a minute, another interesting development happened online. You guys may remember last time we covered the fact that Mega Man X DiVE, Rockman X DiVE, whatever you want to call it, is now available on Steam in North America. Of course, we also mentioned the fact that this is based on the Taiwanese Asian version of Rockman X DiVE, not the global version that's run by Nebula Joy. That in itself, I gotta say, is kind of throwing some shade over Nebula Joy. It's like, wow, you can't even play the global version on Steam. You have to play the Asian version? Whoo boy. But it gets even funnier, guys, because a certain thing that I thought would never happen actually happened. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the day has finally come that Capcom USA finally acknowledges Mega Man X DiVE / Rockman X DiVE. So Capcom USA started by sending out a press release where they announced that Rockman X DiVE actually did hit 8 million downloads, which is pretty cool actually. Now, 8 million downloads doesn't necessarily mean that they're making a lot of money on the game. However, Capcom has stated in prior financial reports that Rockman X DiVE is doing pretty well for their mobile division. And so, while we don't have any decisive data telling us how well DiVE is actually doing, it's probably safe to say that this game is here to stay for the time being, and it's definitely not going to die off as quickly as Rockman Crossover did. As we've said before, DiVE is essentially the new Rockman Crossover anyways. Then after that press release, Capcom USA did the thing. Oh yes, they sent out a tweet saying the following: Mega Man X DiVE is now available on Steam, featuring a Monster Hunter Rise crossover event. Dive in as X, Zero, Axel, and other fan-favorite characters to defeat Mavericks, restore corrupted memories, and keep the D-Blog from descending into chaos. And then they leave a link to the Steam version, which again is in North America now. Now, here's the funny part though. Despite the fact that they call it Mega Man X DiVE in the actual tweet, if you click on the image in the tweet, it does say Rockman X DiVE. And yes, you know where I'm going with this. The Steam version is still based on Rockman X DiVE, the Asian version. So you have the US division of Capcom advertising the Asian version on Steam, despite the fact that technically a global version already exists under Nebula Joy. You know, the version that's actually titled Mega Man X DiVE. Then again, if you go on Steam in North America, it's also technically Mega Man X DiVE until you get into the game itself. Then it turns back into Rockman X DiVE. Yes, I know, it's confusing. But holy Budicus! Capcom USA said, Nebula Joy who? Nah, son, go get the Asian version on Steam and enjoy it. They're throwing some massive shade Nebula Joy's way. Holy cow, man. What does this mean exactly? Well, I'm not sure. At the end of the day, this is a part of a Monster Hunter event. And you know Capcom, they love their Monster Hunter. So if something Monster Hunter happens, they have to advertise it some way or another. So it's very likely this will be the first and last time we see Capcom USA acknowledge this game. Unless of course they have a third Monster Hunter Rise event, which may indeed happen. But I know the question you're thinking about, does this mean Capcom USA is going to take over DiVE now? Most likely not, I would say. We've covered this in the past actually, but it seems Capcom USA is content with people just playing the Asian version. They've known for a long time now that, at least when DiVE first became a thing, a lot of people from North America were already making accounts over on the Asian version just to play it. Of course, there's still a crowd that waited for that global version from Nebula Joy, but Capcom knew the dedicated, hardcore Mega Man fanbase was going to be there no matter which region the game came out in. And that's pretty much the reason why it took so long for Rockman X DiVE to go overseas in the first place. But hey, you know, you can just get it on Steam now if you're in North America. So the barrier of entry is very low at this point, as if it wasn't low already, assuming you're on Android. So there you go. Capcom USA finally acknowledged DiVE. What a day, what a day. But again, the funniest part is just the shade that's been thrown, whether unintentional or not. Alright folks, it's time to log back into the deep log however, because it is that time of year once again. Love is in the air, and the smell of chocolates too. The 2022 Valentine's Day event for Rockman X DiVE is here. This time, it's called Idol Music Valentine's Day, and it apparently features none other than Byte, who has been recolored for this event as the boss. Well, that's pretty lazy, I'm not gonna lie to you, but at least the stage looks interesting enough. It's set in X5's Air Force stage at night. Considering the stage is usually set at day, that is a nice touch. I also enjoy the giant screens in the background, showing the time and date, a link to the Capcom Taiwan website, and some of the title screen artwork. And last but not least, you can also spot a variety of Valentines and chocolate themed enemies to fight. But hey, you've already seen it on screen already. I know what you really want to hear me talk about. The two new characters, of course. Well folks, if you liked Halloween Raw and her idol getup, allow me to introduce to you Valentine's Day RiCO and Valentine's Day iCO. You can tell which one of them really doesn't want to be in this outfit. But yes, the Valentine's Day characters this time around is based on our navigators. RiCO in particular seems to be getting a lot of seasonal love going into 2022. And yes, both of these outfits have that idol theme going on, which is why the event is called Idol Music. And you can tell the stage itself is set at a concert. That's why we have the giant screens and everything. Now speaking of the intro animation, Capcom decided to make things easy for us today because they recycled the same animation for both characters. That's because it's a duo act between both RiCO and iCO, as they summon their outfits together and draw a heart just for you, or something like that. And then depending on the character you selected, RiCO or iCO will step into the spotlight while the other steps off screen. Now as for my opinion on the outfits themselves, I think RiCO is my favorite one. I think the idol theme does fit her almost too well. Definitely got the Hatsune Miku vibes going on. But honestly, you can't go too wrong with either one. Although I gotta say, those skirts are up a little too high. And now before I get demonetized, let's talk about skills. Valentine's Day RiCO's skill 1 is Ribbon Link. Essentially, RiCO will fire a ribbon out to a single target and create a link between them, hence the name. This attack pierces terrain, and it will deal continuous damage to the target that RiCO is linked to. However, if you were hoping that this might be good for PvE, well, unlike what the Ghostbusters say, crossing the streams with enemies doesn't seem to be hazardous at all. The trailer mentions that when you activate the intimacy link, players can become invulnerable, or you can cause an irremovable interference state to the target depending on the distance. Gotta love that English. And then we have fan service. Wow, they just went ahead and named the skill that. Very subtle, 10 out of 10. With this skill, RiCO will slap you in the face with a giant digital screen. That also comes with a strawberry chocolate. Nice. And the trailer mentions that RiCO will continuously emit strawberry chocolate to the targets in the range, which likely refers to that meteor rain of chocolate strawberries. Lastly, it appears that Valentine's Day RiCO does have the ability to heal herself. And we know how powerful healing can be in DiVE. Moving on to Valentine's Day iCO skills. Well, actually skill 1 is exactly the same. So everything I said about Ribbon Link for Valentine's Day RiCO applies to iCO as well. Except iCO's is blue. Oh, and we can see that iCO can spawn a shield. Very nice. And of course, if skill 1 was the same, well, skill 2 is probably the same too. Well, the name is at least, because iCO 2 has fan service. However, her version of fan service is decidedly different, being more of a dash attack. smothering any enemies in her path with hearts and more screens. Furthermore, the trailer says that this skill deals continuous damage to the target and can even cause stun. In conclusion, if Valentine's Day RiCO is more of a long-range attacker, then iCO is a short-range attacker. In fact, the trailer states just as much. That pretty much does it for the breakdown. Valentine's Day RiCO and Valentine's Day iCO is coming via their own banner, along with the new Lover's Gaze weapon, which is a machine gun type Valentine's Day weapon, and the capsule will be dropping on February 9th, this Wednesday, and going for a whopping 2 weeks until February 23rd. Which, given how short of a month February actually is, that's going to take up most of this month. Crazy. To finish off today's mega news then, let's catch up on some manga related news, starting with Rockman-chan and Rockman-san. We're going to kick off this recap with Rockman-chan episode 17 part 1, where we see Rockman-chan and Roll travel to France, and along the way they end up coming face to face with the enemies from the Mega Man 2 European box art? Wow, they're really going for the deep cuts here. Maybe we'll even see that tin can Mega Man from the box art show up in the next chapter. I mean, bad box art Mega Man already made it into Rockman-chan, anything is possible. Meanwhile, Rockman-san episode 19 starts off with a Falcon Punch! In all seriousness, Dr. Light and company continue to try to get the idea of a new battle suit for Rock off the ground, until, ta-da! Gutsman wants to be upgraded too. Boy, go ask Dr. Wily, you're his favorite robot master anyways. If you want to read both of these manga chapters in all their Japanese glory, I will have a link to these in the description below. And for our last news piece, last time we covered the fan translation of the Rockman X4 manga by Yoshihiro Iwamoto, which was translated by Azure Wind Productions. Well, Azure Wind Productions is back fulfilling their prior promise to retranslate X1 through X3. And so today we have the X1 manga retranslation that is available now on Manga Dex. Again, I've been always wanting to check out the Iwamoto Rockman X manga, so this sounds like a great opportunity for me to take a look at this for myself and see what it's all about. And maybe once they get around to X3, I'll be able to experience the Christmas bit meme for myself. If you want to check out the translation for yourself, I'll have a link to the Rockman Corner article in the description below. That's all for today's Mega News Roundup. So I would like to thank all of you so much for watching. As always, for more on Mega Man and other Mega Man-like things, stay tuned to ShadowRockZX. And be sure to pay a visit to the mmnetwork.com, the Mega Man Network, for editorials, reviews, and video posts like this one, covering the Mega Man franchise. If you liked the video, we would appreciate your subscription, your likes, and just spreading the word. We also have our channel membership program here on the channel, where you can support us for as little as $1 a month, and get access to some custom emojis for the streams, among other perks. And on that note, I do want to thank our channel members, including GA class supporters LML123, Vint Crystals, Adrian Cauldron, Chaos Bankai, RiCO Syndrome, and Austin Buford. We truly appreciate your support because honestly, your support is the only thing keeping this channel going today. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time for this week's Rockman X DiVE stream this Wednesday. Yes, it's coming back. And of course, we'll have more Mega Man streams and Mega News videos like this one, among other content, coming soon. Until then, rock on and have yourselves a great time zone.